Hi everyone, Gina here with Balanced Body Solutions, and today we're going to talk about shoulder health, particularly for athletes such as overhead athletes, swimmers, baseball players, CrossFit, those types of things that are going to kind of push you into some of that extreme shoulder range of motion. So before we really get started on some exercises to do, I'll give you 3 tests so you can kind of see where your shoulder health might be posture-wise, and also a pain tester to see if this is something that you need to work on. So the first one is just simply a posture. So if you're standing, just naturally, you'll want to take a look at where your hands are positioned. So right now, if I'm standing here, you can see my thumb in the side of this first knuckle. On this side, you can almost see that second knuckle there. But ideally, I should be here, where you're only seeing this side of the hand. Obviously, we've seen people that even are this far rotated inward. So that's a really bad thing. We want to get you back here. The other thing is just shoulder overhead movement. So if you're going up overhead, you might think you have full range of motion. But one of the easiest ways to tell is, first of all, if you're way up in your ears, that's not where you should be. And secondly, if you turn to the side, I'm way out here. So full range of motion is going to be here. You also have to be able to get that range of motion without doing this little cheat, which is often what we see. Or they're reaching way overhead like this. So we should be able to be comfortable, full range of motion here. And then the third one is a test for shoulder impingement. This is a real common problem for people. So if you take the thumb down and you take the arm up, if that starts to get uncomfortable, then you probably have some impingement going on. And basically what we need to do for all of these things is to get the shoulder moving better, and which is going to consist of the glenohumeral joint as well as the scapula. So there's not a lot of space in between right here. So we have to make sure that everything is really centered here and that the shoulder blade is moving up and along the rib cage and around as we're elevating the arm. Otherwise, it's going to get kind of pinchy and uncomfortable, or we're just going to not have the range of motion that we need. So to do that, one of my absolute favorites to start out is to strengthen the serratus anterior. That particular muscle basically brings the shoulder blade forward and then helps to rotate it around kind of under the armpit. So for overhead, the armpit is kind of what we're going to look at. This is where my scapula ends up, which is nicely in my armpit. For a lot of people, unfortunately, that doesn't come around as well as it should. So what happens is it's kind of stuck down and back. So here's kind of another tester. If you're overhead and you are pulling down and back, I can't go any further. I absolutely get stuck here. But if I let my shoulder blades kind of round around my rib cage, then I can open up. So it's very little movement that has to happen with that scapula, but if it's not happening, you won't get that full overhead flexion or abduction for that matter. So serratus anterior is super easy to work on as far as just getting the idea of the muscle needs to be activated. Once you've figured this part out, there's definitely some strength stuff that you can work on. But the first one I like to do is kind of like a cat-cow. So normally in a cat-cow, you'll start with your hands just right underneath you and you're arching away. What I want you to do is take your hands a bit forward. With it here, there's a huge difference between how much I can round out my shoulders. So I can really push away significantly more with my hands here than if they're directly underneath my shoulders. So I'm really limited. This is as much as I can do versus here. I can really feel the shoulder blade wrap around my rib cage. So that's a good place to start. The second one will be Scap push-ups. This is another one where just a really simple change can make this significantly more effective for that serratus. So we can do just your typical scap push-up. I'm fairly limited on how much I can push away and around. So if I take my hands out a little bit, again, I can really push away and around significantly more, allowing that shoulder blade to come around that rib cage. So I think if you guys start working on this, just focus on how to activate that muscle, it should make a really big difference. I hope that helps.